to the panel. Cameron Milner, former Chief of Staff to Labor leader Bill Shorten, now Director of GXO Strategies, and Michael Costa, former New South Wales Labor Treasurer. Cameron, that desperation now to meet Trump. No, admittedly, he didn't say he's going to NATO specifically to do that, but that's clearly, the last minute change is for that reason. That should tell you, I think, that while Albanese is telling us publicly, the subs, no worries, tick-a-box exercise by the Americans, we'll get it. He's privately very worried that we won't now get them.
Well, and I think the G7 was a date night disaster for him and a foreign affairs failure. I mean, what an absolute embarrassment for Albo to have gone all the way to Canada for a 20-minute meeting as a sidebar and then been snubbed. I mean, and then go on the sort of the speed dating rebound with all the other people he could have met on the G7 as well. I mean, no. I mean, the danger with him going to NATO now is he'll look desperate and also potentially still be dateless. I mean, that's the issue, desperate and dateless. And so Albo on AUKUS has left it way too late. He should have been there with Trump at the time of his election, should have been there when he was there for the election, after he was elected and inaugurated on the 20th, but it didn't fit the Albo narrative. Albo didn't want to be seen anywhere near Trump because it didn't fit the pre-election narrative of the Labor Party, who wanted to pour scorn on Donald Trump and have Trump as the kind of the punchline of all the negative advertising about Peter Dutton. So that's why we're playing catch-up. That's why Albo's well behind the ball, and that's why Trump snubbed him, because Albo and Wong and Burke have hardly been friends of America.
Yeah, look, Michael Costa, I get that Trump had bigger fish to fry back in Washington, but to do it without even a courtesy call, a sorry, not that I can squeeze you in for 5 minutes, or hop on the plane to Washington and we'll talk at length, nothing, absolutely nothing, just like that. What does that tell you?
It tells me that Australia's largely irrelevant to the US. I mean, look, we're a middle-ranking power that's neglected our defence for decades now, under both governments, both persuasions of governments. It's hard to take us seriously as a defence partner, and that's what it tells me. I think he's right to be desperate because there is a potential for us to lose these subs, and you can see why. I mean, we're not prepared to step up on defence, yet we want to have cutting-edge, submarines, and why would the US give that to us? In terms of the snub, I think he also snubbed some of those other leaders. I mean, there's Macron today running around saying that we should be careful about what we do in Iran, talking about the US. I think you've got a bunch of fools in terms of international relations at that G7. You can see it. The only person that's got any substance, of course, is Zelensky, and he's not even a member of the G7. So, look, the bottom line is I think we should be sceptical about the US's concerns for us. I think the US has gone down a path, and Australia has itself to blame for its neglect of defence.
I would say there's one other figure now of substance in NATO, and this is the new German Chancellor. I think it makes a lot of sense. He's for
early days.
Getting rid of these. Yeah, well, early days. I know he's got a coalition, but still making very good sounds about backing the attack on Iran. And I've got to say, Cameron, you make an excellent point. If Albanese goes ahead and tries to chase down Donald Trump in The Hague and gets another brush off, that will make him a laughing stock around the world. I don't know that he can afford to risk that. But to Trump and this war against Iran, he's talking like the Americans are doing the fighting, or some of it. There's something very stranger than there about how he's slid into this war. I think it's good that he wants to be now backing it, but he slid into it without actually owning it or running it.
Yes. Andrew,
well, that's right, isn't it, Andrew? Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Go, Michael.
Just Cameron first and then Michael next.
Sorry. So, look, I think it is. I mean, I think it's welcome that he wants to be there, especially if we need to take out that nuclear capability at Fordo that's obviously so deep and so impenetrable. But isn't it great? Isn't it great that Israel is doing the world's work to decapitate this Iranian regime, to remove their nuclear capacity, and to actually fight a group of people who are prepared to bomb civilians and fund, the Houthis, Hamas and Hezbollah on Israel's doorstep. I think it's great that Israel has attacked Iran in this way, and if the US is required to remove once and for all that nuclear threat from Iran, well, so be it.
Yeah. Well, no thank you to Israel from our government. What do you think about how Trump has got into this war and how is now posting messages suggesting he's fighting it What do you make of that, Michael?
Oh, look, I'm pleased, and I think the whole world should be pleased. I mean, look, the isolationist position in the MAGA movement was completely loony. You know, people like Tucker Carlson and Candace Owen, these people are crazies. And, you know, Charles Lindbergh is the sort of model for these sorts of people that was, you know, betrayed the US in the face of the Second World War. The bottom line is Trump wants to be seen as a winner. He has to be seen as a winner, and he needs to defend US interests. People forget the US has a responsibility because all of the key institutions, the economic institutions of the world, are US institutions. The World Bank, the UN, in fact, the IMF. It has the world's reserve currency, and it has $30 trillion worth of debt to the rest of the world. It's only defending its own interests, let alone the global interests and the values that we all have to have. I hope Trump does step up. It doesn't mean regime change. I think that's the big you know, unknown in all of this, but certainly destroying the nuclear facilities. And let's not forget, Andrew, Israel is smaller than New South Wales in terms of its GDP, and it has the same population. It is staggering, the achievement of the Israeli government, the Israeli people, in relation to taking on Iran, which is 10 times its size. That's our model for the future. We've got no defence, and look at Israel.
That's absolutely. Compare us now even to Ukraine's army, how that's been fighting and so innovative. I know it's a much bigger country, but still. Cameron Milner, I mean, it's what is it that stops this government from saying a thank you to Israel? I mean, I know Penny Wong today, the foreign minister, amped up her rhetoric against Iran finally, but this is like days later and they still haven't said, yes, Israel was right to go into Iran and try to, clean out this unlawful, this threatening nuclear weapons program.
Well, Michael and I have been at too many state conferences, I think, and national conferences, seeing these people come through the party. I mean, these are hardcore lefties who are embarrassed to stand with our allies, embarrassed to stand with democratic institutions like the US, like the UK, like Israel. Stand with our Jewish brothers here in Australia. These people have, pandered to Palestine, have turned a blind eye to Hamas and all the other things that happen in the Middle East, like Iran and like the Iranian regime, for too long. And that's the problem. And that's the problem. These people have come through the party, Michael, as you know, as hardcore lefties, and they can't change their spots when they're given responsibilities like being the foreign minister and other responsibilities like the home affairs minister.
Oh, I like the way you added that one. Take that, Tony Burke. Cameron Milner, Michael Costa, thank you very much to you both.